Stop it. Stop it. Toss toss. I forgot I'm wearing makeup. Toss toss. Hi! I'm so glad you're here. A few months ago, I started the process of redecorating my living space, and I think it's time to continue that project. I'd like to decorate my kitchen area next, and I was originally going to continue the Ghibli fairy witch cottagecore theme that I have in the living room, but I actually think I want to do something a little bit different. My mom and I recently watched Encanto, which I love, and I have always loved Casita's kitchen, so I thought I'd bring a little more of that vibe into my kitchen area. Bright colors, leafy greens everywhere, and some painted details on, well, basically everything. The walls, the doors, the cabinets, everything. One part of this project is putting a kitchenette in, which is something that has been on the back burner for over a year, and I'm really excited to finally put that together. We went to the hardware store and got these 2 units, a countertop, a sink, and some primer. The first thing I did was clear almost everything out of the space. Pearl was a very good helper and was with me every step of the way. Every step. Before I started painting anything though, I wanted to figure out the layout of the area, which was a little bit tricky because of this bar table thing. It's really a roulette table that is very heavy and can't be easily taken out of here, so it's gonna have to stay. And because of some future plans I have for this little corner area, I'm just gonna have to put it against the far wall for now. I moved my kitchen island into its former place and decided to make sure that the cabinet units actually fit on the wall I have in mind for them. They have to go here because the bathroom sink is on the other side and the pipes will be accessible for when the sink is eventually installed. But for now, it'll just be a nice countertop. Everything fit nicely, so it was time to paint the cabinets. Taking off these cardboard label things took way more tools than I was expecting, but as soon as I popped them off, I got to work priming the cabinets. You'll see more as we go along that any time I had to get on the floor to work, Pearl thought that meant it was cuddle time. And when it was time to prime, Pearl decided to investigate the paint roller before I got to work. And let's just say she has a new enemy. But I put that evil roller to work and primed the cabinets before putting the color on. I decided to use the same green I used in the living room on the cabinets since I had some on hand, and I think they're already looking pretty good. The next day I went thrifting on the hunt for some greenery. Although I found very few fake plants, I did find 3 new mugs. After that, I went to the craft store where the greens were on sale, and after battling some of them, I took home a big bag of vines, leaves, and other green things. I also got a gallon of light yellow paint for the walls. I only found 2 thrifted plants, but I also found this Beatrix Potter treasury book and a copy of Fry Bread for my children's literature collection, so it was a great thrifting day. Before I started painting, there were some holes and scrapes in the wall that I had to put some spackle on, and I'd never used it before and didn't have the actual spatula thingy. I just used a paint stirrer stick, and it worked pretty well. I cleared the walls and got to painting the next day. Before I started painting though, I wanted to figure out my plans for the murals on the wall, so I sat down, paid the cuddle tax, and got to planning. I decided to do 1 coat of yellow regardless of my mural plans, and only had 1 small mishap while moving everything out of the way. After scolding the evil drawer, yet another Pearl enemy, and consoling my poor baby, I finally got to clearing the cobwebs and painting the walls. I only got 1 coat down on the edges before realizing how late it was though, and I decided to continue it the next day, where my roller ended up fitting perfectly on the end of my mop handle, and wielding it made me feel like Gandalf.
You shall not pass!
Finally painting the wall, I got 1 coat down, focusing on the task at hand, even if my camera didn't want to. Then came the fun part. Using my old projector connected to my iPad, I projected my designs for the cabinet details onto the doors and traced the patterns with pencil. I decided to do it this way to make sure that they were as symmetrical as possible, and because it'll make painting the mural a lot easier. The pattern I'm drawing is based on a piece of concept art, though the colors I'm using are more based off of the Colombian flag, which is where Encanto is set, but they're also the colors of the Venezuelan flag, which is a fun little detail because that's where my dad is from. It started to get late, so I decided to at least pencil out the mural to set myself up for more painting the next day. I got the cabinets mostly done and drew the mural layout, so I called it a night. The next day, before putting another coat of paint on the walls, I tried to figure out how crazy I wanted to get with the murals. I considered putting my drawing of Casita on the big wall, but eventually decided against it. I also considered painting some tile work on the walls, but the projection didn't reach the sides, and I didn't trust myself enough to continue the pattern by eye or to perfectly realign the projection, so plain yellow walls it is. It'll be decorated with pictures and other things anyway, and before long the second coat was done, and I painted around where the mural is going to go so I didn't have to paint the entire wall. I started on that next, putting this light orange color down first, then using that same color for some of the tiles on the top of the pattern. With a slightly darker orange, I started detailing the tile pattern on the bottom of the mural, blending the edges inward and adding a little bit of a shadow under the arch to add some depth. I got a lot done, but it got very late, so I called it a night. The next day I got right back to work, continuing the line work on the tiles, although Pearl always seemed to think that I was mixing something delicious and not paint, because she was very interested every time I had to mix a new color. I repainted the arch a darker color to differentiate it more from the lighter tiles above it, and I'm really glad I did because it looks so much better. And between a red and a magenta that ended up looking exactly like the red, I decided to go with the magenta anyway, and based on how it turned out, it definitely needed 2 coats. While that was drying, I started painting the other little details onto the tiles, including these yellow decorations on the top tiles, and a pattern in blue for the arch, which is also inspired by that concept art for Casita's kitchen. I was so close to getting this done, but I had to call it a day. Next step was putting that second coat onto the butterflies and completing the top arch on the mural, which also needed 2 coats. I had to design a new pattern for that thinner cabinet as the other one didn't really fit, so I finished that up next. Pearl thought every paint color was a treat. My brushes were treats and my pencils were treats. I think I need to get her a proper bone because this girl is apparently lacking special treats. But I can safely say she's not lacking cuddles. I started painting the pattern, and then after a tiny setback that I had to cover up with even more paint, I finished the cabinets and moved on to the doors. I'm not sure why, but I find painting doors to be way more fun than painting the walls. I decided to go with some vines on the bathroom door, mainly because I couldn't think of anything else, but I think it actually looks really good and will definitely add some leafy greeny vibes to the whole area. I got most of that done, but I didn't even start on the other door before I had to call it a night. Back at it the next day, so close to being done with all of the painting. I thought about making myself a door like they have in the movie, but the layout of the door just didn't really work for that idea. So after putting some flowers on the vines, I drew up a plan for the other door that has more of a Tangled theme. I think Rapunzel is my favorite Disney princess, and because of that, I'll eventually be decorating my bedroom with a Tangled theme. So I thought having a little bit of Tangled out here would be fun. I based it off of Rapunzel's wall paintings, and there are a lot of vines and leaves, so it all felt like it fit the theme. And I added the sun and a little Pascal because it just wouldn't be Tangled without them. And then I was so close to having it all done, but I had to leave the rest for the next day, which is when I made some upcycled pots for my plants out of some old coffee canisters. Crocheting the nets for the pots took all day, but they look pretty good, and I will be sharing a short about that process, but by the time all 6 of them were done, so was the day. Finally, it was time to decorate. Hang things up. Drill some holes into that wall I spent all that time painting. Paint. I forgot to do the 3rd coat of paint. So that's what I spent the rest of that day doing, but you don't want to see me painting the same thing again, so we'll move on to the actual decorating day. And this is when I realized Pearl wanted to eat my dramatic sleeves. At least until the sleeves chased her. Then she had a change of heart. I put some collapsible hook things on the walls of the mural, avoiding drilling into the mural itself, because I spent so much time on it I didn't have the heart to drill into it. These hooks collapse and open into an L shape and act like a hook with a lot of space to hold things, so I figured they'd be perfect for all of the plants. With all of the puzzle pieces complete, it was time to put it all together, so let's take a look at the reveal. I love it. It makes me so happy walking into the space now. I love all the color and I love the greenery. I've been wanting some greenery in here for a while. The relatively inexpensive kind that I don't have to take care of, although that might change in the near future. But I just love how fun it is. At some point I'm gonna have a sink installed in this little kitchenette, but scheduling a plumber to come in time for the video just wasn't really an option. I can't wait to actually be able to make food in a space that's more functional than it was before. And it's nice to see a home for all of the things that I made in my thrift flip video. And I'm really happy to finally put my Encanto poster up because my brother used to work at a movie theater. They would let them take posters after the movies weren't showing anymore, and he snagged that one for me. And it's been sitting in my closet ever since because I haven't known where or how to put it up, but an Encanto themed kitchen seemed like a fitting place. I also moved my Mural print from my art corner in my workshop out here. And although the kitchen was going to be kind of a continuation of a fairy cottage core type situation, and that's why I made the little houses and the butterflies with that theme in mind, but I think it all actually works really well with the different theming. The upcycled coffee canister pots are perfect. After washing them, I was considering painting the glass or decorating it somehow, but I think the crocheted nets that I made decorated enough and were a great way to upcycle those coffee canisters. My mural took several days to paint, in addition to the doors and the cabinets and the walls in general. Something I did learn in the process was that yellow paint does not cover very well. I had to do 3 coats of paint on the walls, and I still feel like the edges don't quite blend with the rest of the wall, but I'm done painting for a while, so I'm just gonna call it good as it is. I really went back and forth with how I was going to paint my bedroom door because why would I not make myself a door like they have in the movie? I didn't really want to make a door facade just for that, so I decided, since my bedroom is eventually going to be Tangled themed, to paint a little bit of a Tangled theme on the outside of the door too, which I think really worked because looking at Rapunzel and Mirabel's styles of painting and or embroidering, in Mirabel's case, it's very similar with these alternating lines of paint and or thread, and there's a lot of vine and leaf work involved. So I think it was actually the perfect combination of the two. I am going to continue decorating the wall as I go along. I'm sure I'll just have more stuff to add to for display in the future. And to explain that empty frame on the wall, my mom and I were watching Encanto the other night, and I saw the family tree that they have in the kitchen slash dining area, and I thought it would be fun to try and make my own in that same kind of style. So that'll probably be a side quest in the future, a new little kind of side series I'm starting, drawing it digitally and getting a print of it made to hang on the wall. So yeah, I really love it. And if you like it too, you can let me know by hitting the like button. And if you want to see what I'm doing next and join the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to know when I post, hit the notification bell and YouTube will let you know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!